Hello to you all and welcome to this second video to the channel, finally. Only 2 months later after the first video, but anyway, I'm still waiting on some parts to finish the server, but for the time being I thought I'd just put in an extra video just to fill in the gap. What I'll be covering today is washing a CPU water block. Just to fill you in with a bit of backstory on why this video is even a thing, is because I bought this EK water block from one of the retailers we have here in the UK. And unfortunately for them, in their process failings, they didn't label it as a used part and it was missing components. It was very clearly used because of gunk in amongst the fins of the block. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and show you the process of getting a water block cleaned if you have to do so yourself. So the variant that I have here is the Velocity DRGB. I didn't actually intend for it to have the RGB flavouring, but it was just, again, such a great price, I just decided to go with it. And very quickly I've already taken it apart and you can see that there is some sort of sticky gunk and residue both on the fins, and that's a kind of oval shaped piece of metal with a slit down the middle. That is essentially what causes the jet effect, and it blasts, where it just kind of focuses the water through those fins, mainly in the centre, and then it spreads out to the edges. The water then is carried away through the outlet. So the first thing I need to do, we've obviously disassembled the whole block at this point, is I'm going to clean it down with a little bit of distilled water. You don't have to use distilled water, but I just happen to have a bottle kicking around. So with a little fine head toothbrush, you can just go ahead and you can just wipe it all down. You can use soap as well. I find that works perfectly fine. So what I did is I just added a little drop into the bowl and continue to scrub with the toothbrush. But we will be using some isopropyl alcohol in order just to really tackle all of the grit and the grime that's been built up in this block. Usually from sediment, if I'm just assuming that the coolant that was used with this block would have been like an opaque coolant, because it's left a lot of silky residue left over, and in the fact that a lot of it was blue, so kind of gave it away a little bit. So I'm just following the same sort of pattern, cleaning, again with distilled water, not isopropyl yet. I will be coming back to that. Just using that fine head toothbrush to go through the fins and dig out anything that's been, any residue that's left over in there. And then I'll swap over to a different bowl now. This is the one with isopropyl alcohol in it, and this just does a better job of tackling all of that grime, that sticky residue, as I mentioned, left over. And it obviously, as you can see the end result already, it looks very shiny indeed. It's just one of the effects of using alcohol as a solution. In this case, it does make it look very, very shiny. Very importantly though, that rubber gasket, that octagonal gasket, it's very important not to put that in any sort of alcohol, because that itself will also be eaten, and it will become soft and deteriorate and it won't be usable anymore. The actual whole process doesn't take very long, but I would urge you to take your time anyway. Just be very careful, in particular with the fins. The fins themselves nowadays have become so thin and so tightly compact that even with just the wrong amount of pressure you could end up damaging those. So just be very, very careful with that. And essentially the process now of slapping it all back together in order is what I'm doing now. So that's I suppose actually the only thing I don't really like about it, that the actual plastic surround of the block itself, I think is actually a little bit tacky in my opinion, but it's my opinion, so you can feel free to ignore it if you want to. But yeah, it just doesn't look amazing to my eyes. Actually, I've just noticed, rewatching this, oh no, never mind. I had a panic moment when I thought, did I attach that Intel mounting plate backwards, like upside down? As it turns out, no, it was mounted correctly, so thank God for that. When you are screwing the block back down to the acrylic, like with everything that you do pretty much in computing and things in general, it is good practice to do it in a cross pattern. Start in one corner, move to the next, and then kind of, north, south, east, west it. Just doing little bits at a time, and don't overdo it, obviously, because you could end up doing a multitude of things, damaging it further, or even stripping out the Allen key thread. Not the thread, but you know what I mean, the hole for it. What else is there really to say other than cleaning blocks is just one of those things you do have to do, even unironically, if you didn't purchase a block that happens to be used. But let's say if you're doing an annual service on your custom water quality build, you do have to take the time to take it all apart. It's good anyway because you get to inspect whether or not there's been significant deterioration, and in that case you decide whether or not you can replace certain parts or you just replace the part outright. This is just a little bit of a filler, but I thought it'd be interesting to walk you through the process of cleaning a water block from start to finish. Further content coming up is the finishing of the server that I started the channel with. I'm still waiting on parts. Once I have those, I'll be able to slap up a video and get it out to you guys as quickly as possible, amongst my actual personal build, which is also being modded right now, which is a Johnsbow A4, heavily modified, and I can't wait to show you guys that. But for the time being, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.